Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to Convocourses podcast. We do this once a week where we talk about security topics, specifically GRC, security compliance. And today I want to start off by telling you guys about some transformational books that I've read over the past, 6 months that I've been kind of revisiting, life-changing books that are not necessarily specifically cybersecurity related, not necessarily related to security compliance, which I mostly read, but they might affect your development in your career, whatever that happens to be. And these three books are, one is called Atomic Habits. These are not my books, by the way, for once. One is called Atomic Habits, which talks about goals. The other one is 12-Week Year. And the other one is a book called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And I'm going to briefly explain like how these books can help you out in your life. And if you want to seek these books out, you can just Google it and go to Amazon, buy it from Barnes and Noble or wherever, Google, wherever you're going to buy it. Doesn't matter as long as you can get your hands on the book because it's life-changing. The first book is called Atomic Habits. It's by James Cleary. And what I got from the book is it's breaking goals down to their most fundamental elements, the atomic portions of the goal. And he's taken things from research. He's taken things from things in his own personal life and boiling them down. And the book got so much praise that I just decided to take a look at that book. And wow, I don't regret it. What I got from the book, I'll just highlight one thing or two things that I got from each book. But from this book, one thing he said in there that he emphasizes that to get the goals you want, to accomplish the goals you want, you have to become the person that accomplishes those goals. So if you want to be a CEO, you need to behave like a CEO. You need to become that guy. If you want to make six figures, what does a six figures person act like? You need to become that person. So that book is called Atomic Habits by James Cleary. Another really great thing I got from that book is focus on the system that creates the goal and not the goal itself. It's more important that you create a system and a process that gets you the goal than it is to focus too much on the end goal itself. And let me show you what that book looks like. So that book looks like this, Atomic Habits by James Cleary. Awesome, life-changing book, especially if you're a goal-oriented person. There's a lot of other things he talks about, like writing your goal down, creating an environment for the goal. Those are the kinds of awesome things that you want to do. But I mean, he goes into great detail about it. He's got downloadables. He's got a website and all this kind of stuff. It's a whole process. It's not just a book. It's an experience. The second book I wanted to tell you guys about is called The 12-Week Year. So this book has two concepts that stuck with me that have been life-changing. And the reason I've been able to create so many books, if you're wondering, like, how in the hell am I able to write so many books and put so much stuff out? It's because of this book right here. It's called 12-Week Year. And it's the concept is simple. You take 12 weeks and you put those into 12. You take 12 months in a year, right? You condense those into 12 weeks. So basically everything you were going to do in a month, you do it in a week. And it sounds like crazy. The first time you hear the concept, you're like, are you out of your mind? How can I do everything I was going to do in 12 years, in 1 year? How can I do that in 12 weeks? So that's the magic of it, because you can do it. But what it does is when you start to do it, you realize you got to cut out everything else that's not important. You got to focus on just what's absolutely important. And you got to cut out all the fat. And another thing, concept that it introduced to me was, I've heard of it before, but the way they broke it down in the book made me completely understand it. Lead indicators versus lag indicators. Both are important, but one outweighs the other. And so a lead indicator, the best way I can explain it is if you were trying to lose weight. I'll use two different examples. One, losing weight, and another one would be getting a degree. So if you were trying to lose weight and you step on the scale every day, and you're looking at you're trying to lose 20 pounds, and you're looking at the scale, and it says, oh, you lost 1 pound, or you gained 2 pounds, whatever the case may be. That's a lag indicator, because it's dependent on something else. In order for you to lose the weight, you have to you have to go to the gym, you have to change your diet, you have to, there's other things you have to do. A lead indicator are the actual reps, is the actual calories, is the actual thing you do. So a lead indicator leads you to what you're trying to do. And the reason why that's an important aspect of this book is because it forces you to think about the lead indicators and the things that actually will change your life, rather than just focusing on the lag indicators, which most of us do that. Most of us, if we're trying to lose weight or whatever, we're going to get on the scale, and we're going to be looking and watching the scale. Okay, did I gain weight, muscle mass? Did I lose weight? And you focus too much on the score rather than the reps that it takes, the miles you had to run, the calories you had to not eat, because that part that hurts, that's the lead indicator, and that's the part that is going to get you where you want to go. And the 12-week year is is powerful because it forces you, if you think that it's not possible to do everything you were going to do in 1 year in 12 weeks, if somebody put a gun to your head, if somebody kidnapped your kids and said, do this in 12 weeks or you're going to die, I bet you find a way. And so if you have a 12-week year, it's forcing you to do everything that you have to do to accomplish that goal, and it strips away everything else you were going to do. I'll give you a specific example from my own life. So my goal for the year was I was going to learn another language. I was going to get in shape, get a six-pack abs. I was going to earn another $100,000 a year. I was going to, what else was I going to do? I was going to, I wanted to easily run 3 miles. I wanted to buy real estate. I had like 15 different things I wanted to do, right? I started the 12-week year, and I had all this whole map of how I was going to do it all. In the first week, I felt like I was going to die, because I was literally doing everything it took, but I was like, okay, I can't do all this stuff. A realization hit me, is that I'm doing too many things. I got to focus on one thing, maybe two. So I cut everything else out. It forced me to think about the most important thing that I absolutely want to do in 12 weeks, in 1 year. If I had 1 year and there was nothing else I wanted to do and accomplish, it forced me to take the most important thing and focus on that one thing at a time. One thing. And so that's what I did. I started focusing on writing. And that's how I've been able to write so many books. Lead indicator versus lag indicator for your degree. Let's say you applied it to your career path in your degree, in your certification, whatever it happens to be. A lag indicator would be really whether or not you passed. Let's say you were taking A+ certification. A lag indicator would be if you were taking, if the test itself actually is a lag indicator. You take the test, you fail it. You failed the core 1 of the test. A lead indicator would be you read 3 books. Your lead indicator is I read 3 books on this topic. I took 2 courses on this topic. It's the reps. It's the time you put in. And so why the lead indicator is so important is because what ends up happening is you set a goal for yourself. And when you go after that lead indicator, you will automatically get the lag indicator. I hope that makes sense. So 12-week year, super important book, life-changing. It's been super powerful. And that's the way I've been able to write all these books so quickly, is because if somebody pointed a gun to my head and said, you absolutely have to get this certification, you absolutely have to get this degree, you had to get an A in this class, how are you going to do it? You're going to do everything in your power. You're going to cut out all the partying, all the drinking, all the clubs, I don't do any of that stuff. But if there's things that I do that are distractions from actually getting stuff done, and whatever those things are, a 12-week year is going to cut all that stuff out. So, and force you to just focus on what you absolutely need to do for the next 12 weeks, 3 months. The last book I want to tell you guys about and I think I saved the best for last, is this book right here called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So the reason why this is so important, there's a lot of things in this book that were very powerful, but the most powerful thing for me was one thing he said in this book, which is definitely going to be a quotable till the end of time, I think, when people finally realize it. He said, don't focus on the things that you think you deserve. Target the things you're willing to earn. So think about that for a second. When I heard that in the book, first of all, this book is about a dude he was a Navy SEAL. He was special forces in 3 different services. He was special forces in the Navy as a Navy SEAL. He was special forces in the Air Force. He was special forces in the Army. And he did a whole bunch of stuff. And this dude's military career is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, and if you've been in the military, you know what that really means, right? I was in the military, and not many people can do what he did. Nobody can do what he did. I mean, very, very few people can do what he did. So, anyway, this guy did it, and what he learned at the end of the book, I'm not even going to ruin for you guys who are real serious and actually going to go through this book. For me, the ending of the book was really powerful. I didn't see it coming. And but one thing he said in the book was that don't focus on what you think you deserve. Target what you're willing to earn. And it hit me in the heart because I was thinking to myself, it made me think about the reasons why I'm so angry all the time. I'm bitter and I'm angry, and it's not something I lash out. People don't see it. Like if you meet me, you'll never know. But I realized I'm so bitter and angry, and the reason why is because I think I deserve more than what people give me. Whether it's at my country, the organizations I work for, my family and friends. I do so much. I feel like I do so much that I deserve more, but I'm not getting it. Reciprocal in my relationships. I don't know, respect, more money at the organization I work for. I feel like I put in so much work. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you think you deserve from all the people who you sacrifice yourself for and do all this stuff for. It's what's more important is what you're willing to earn, because you can't force people to give you back the love you think you deserve. You can't force people to respect you at the certain level that you think that you deserve. You can't, but what you can do is learn to love and respect your own work so that it doesn't matter what other people think about you. It doesn't matter even if they give you praise. You're like, well, I appreciate that. But you know that you've done 100 things for this person or for that organization or for yourself that you've already given yourself praise for. You know there's no way they can ever pay you back for what you've already done that they don't even know you did. So you're just like, well, I appreciate what you're saying, but the respect and love that you have for yourself will far outweigh, because you earned it for yourself. I hope that makes sense. Another powerful thing about that statement is target what you're willing to earn. Think about that. If you're really willing to earn something, whether it's be a millionaire, whether it's start a business, whether it's becoming a CEO of a corporation, becoming a director, becoming a manager, getting into IT in the first place, being the best in your family, being the best for yourself, being whatever it happens to be, right? Whatever it happens to be. If you're willing to earn it, you will stop at nothing. You will stop at nothing to earn it. You will stop at nothing. If your life depends on it, you will do it. And you'll do whatever it takes to get it, whatever it happens to be. When you have that mindset, nothing will stop you, not even failing 100 times. If you take a test, you fail it, you'll just be like, okay, now I have a better chance of passing it the next time. And then you go take it again. What you're willing to earn, means you'll do whatever it takes to get to that end goal. And if it's respect, if it's the respect of your organization, if it's the respect of your country, if it's the respect of your family, respect of your spouse, think about it like this. You can't force another person to reciprocate your respect and love. But the effort you put forward, you know what effort you need to be great. And once you reach that, nobody can take that away from you. And it doesn't even matter when they praise you or not. Just the other day, a few weeks ago, I do pretty good at my job. And I'm good at what I do. So I'm at my job, I'm doing all this work, and they're like, they take me aside and they're like, yo, like you do. They didn't say yo, but they're like, man, we're thinking about promoting you because you've done so well here and you've only been here for X amount of months. And like, man, we're so impressed. I was just talking to the boss about how well you're doing. And you know what? I was stoic. I was like, thanks. That's it. Because I've done 100 things for them that they don't even know about. There's nothing they can say that's going to meet the amount of praise that I have for myself inside. Not that I don't respect what they said. I respect it. I love that. That's great. But they can give me accoutrements, love, respect, rewards. The reward that I gave myself for accomplishing those goals is far outweighs what they could give me. And that's the same for my family. That's the same for this country, for the United States of America. There's nothing that they can say to me. There's nothing that they can give me. A Purple Heart, of nothing that they could say that's going to be more than what I gave to the average American people who don't even know what I did. There's nothing they could. So if you target what you're willing to earn, the reward is its own reward. And that's what this book is talking about. It's a powerful book. This book right here. So those 3 books are life-changing. So if you can pick up, let me just kind of go through them again. The first one was Atomic Habits by James Cleary. Great book that breaks down in its purest form how to make habits that accomplish goals. 12-week year, condensing an entire year's worth of work. What you would normally do, whenever you do your New Year's resolution, think about all those, but doing them in 3 months, 12 weeks. It's a psychopathic way but you'll go into beast mode if you read this book because it tells you how to do it. And then the last book is the one I was just talking about, which is You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. It's really a biography of an incredible dude. And what I got out of it is how to run this race, this marathon called life. It goes way beyond your career, and it goes into like how to go more hard in your life, in your whole life, not just your career, but everything, every aspect of your life. So those are the 3 books. I hope that you guys go out and go get I have nothing to do with these books. You're not going to, if you click the link that's in the description, it's not going to give me money or anything like that. I just thought these books greatly affected me, have made my life better. And I think that if you check these books out, they got an audio version of these books. You can download them. You can get the hard copy of it. You can get the paperback of it. You can get the Kindle. They've got all kind of discounts. Go ahead and grab the books and check them out. These are life-changing books. You should really spend your time with them. These are not books that you're just gonna whip through. It's probably something I've already revisited a couple of these books twice. It's a reference book for your life. These are life-changing books. Okay, let me get to the questions that you guys have here. I'm not going to talk about just books all day long, but let me see. Somebody said, hey, Bruce, what projects should I learn to apply to my resume for cybersecurity? What projects should I learn to apply to my resume for cyber? It depends, Jay Penn, what you're trying to do. What are you trying to do? Because cybersecurity is a very broad field. So if you're trying to go into IT itself is a broad field. So IT is broken into networking, cloud technologies, AI, artificial intelligence, you name it, cryptography, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity itself has different breakdowns. You've got, in cybersecurity itself, you've got cryptography, you've got the sciences of create, you've got firewall admins, you've got IDS, IPS administrators, you've got stuff what I do, which is GRC type stuff. You've got all kinds of what types of stuff that you want to do. Now, if you're an entry-level person, like you've never done anything at all with cyber, I would suggest you learning the basics. So the common body of knowledge that I tell everybody to do, if you don't know it already, is A+ certification. The CompTIA A+ does a really good job of breaking down all the most important things you need to learn. And those include things like, what's the difference between a server and a client? Mobile devices, how do they work? What's the difference between that and a server? What, just basic things that you need to know. Networking, basic networking, cloud technology, basic security best practices. And you said, that's what I'm stuck on in college right now, entry level. I'm interning right now. That's awesome. Interning for what? Are you doing IT? Are you doing IT stuff in interning? Because if so, that's great. That's really, really great. Yes. Oh, man, that's awesome. Jay, you're in an incredible position. What I would advise you to do, follow along and do exactly what the song says. As Eminem says. Let me see. Let me show you what I'm going to show you my screen right now if I can. So I'm gonna log into my LinkedIn account. If you guys didn't know, if you want to join me, I have a LinkedIn account. Let me see if I can. Oh man, I didn't log into this thing. Let me see. Let me see if I can log in this thing real quick. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here. Give me a second. So I would encourage, while I'm logging in here, I would encourage you to create a LinkedIn account. Let me show you. I'm going to show you my LinkedIn account. And if you didn't know, I actually have man, I look crazy on LinkedIn. I apologize for my face. Oh my God, it's weird seeing myself do this, man. It's so weird. Oh, got to do it though. Okay. At the risk of doing a double voice here. Okay, anyway. Damn, I'm looking. It's weird seeing myself do this, man. All right, give me a second here. I'm gonna switch my screen. I wish there was an easier way. I'm a low-level TikToker, so what I would encourage you to do, Jay, is start these profiles right here. And for those of you that are listening to me or on YouTube or Facebook, I'm about to show you guys right here. So here's my TikTok, my LinkedIn page. Create a LinkedIn page and fill this thing out completely. And you want to put your internship and all that kind of stuff. Put your internship in here. Because let me show you. See this right here? This is where you would put your internship in your experience. You put your university here, the university you're working for, because make no mistake, you are working for them. Actually, no, you put your title here. Your title goes here. So let's say you were help desk representative or whatever it happens to be at University of Phoenix, and you'd put the time that you're working. If you're currently working there, you'd put September 2023 to present, and then you'd put everything you're doing. And this is an important part because this is where you want to put all the keywords and stuff. And now, if you don't know how to word this, you can check out my resume for free, for downloadable. If you're on TikTok still, you can go to TikTok and download a free version of my resume, and it breaks down how to word all this stuff. Because you want to put what you did as well as the impact, and there's a certain keywords you want to put in there that are important to doing cyber. Now, to change this, you would just go to edit, and then you would change all this stuff up. You want to put about you. You want to put a little picture. You don't have to do all these videos and stuff like I do. That's kind of super extra. But you want to fill this part out. You want to put your name in there. Every part of this thing, 100% complete is what you want to do. The degree that you're working on right now, all the certifications you have, or if you're working on certifications, put that in there. Your skills, put all that stuff in there. And then you want to do this, and then you want to do this on dice.com. You want to do this on monster.com. And I know I sound like a broken record. Somebody said, wow, this guy's an echo chamber. Yes, this stuff is really important. Like if you're really trying to get in this career path, then listen to what I'm trying to tell you guys, because this is what you do. If you want to get a job here, if you want to level up, this is how I've done it all these years. I make six figures. I work from home. The last 4 jobs I work for are working from home. We're making over 6 figures. And sometimes I'm able to work 2 jobs. So you can do this too. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So I'm telling you, this is how you do it. Let me see. Mr. Bruce Brown, I got in and I watched some of your videos. Great information. Thanks. I'm looking for this. Thank you. Oh, awesome, man. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. What level of clearance do you have? Currently, I don't have a clearance. I have a public trust. Public trust is not officially a clearance. So the last one I had was a secret. And before that, secret, top secret, stuff like that. But you don't need a clearance to get into cybersecurity, just so you know. A lot of people think that you need a clearance. No, they'll do a background check, but a background check is not a clearance. They're 2 separate things. Let me see if I have any other questions. Any tips on transitioning from to GRC as a CPA in audit? Yes. So Jen, so if you're trying to go, if you're in the financial sector currently, there's certain GRC stuff that you already are doing more than likely. So think to yourself, any kind of compliance stuff that you need to know or be familiar with as a CPA. So they might include things like, and I don't know if this applies to you. I'm not a CPA, but there's a couple of ones off the top of my head I know about that are dealing with financial sector. One is called PCI DSS, which deals mainly with card readers. So if you're familiar with that one, that'll help you. If you're familiar with Sarbanes-Oxley, Sarbanes-Oxley has something called internal controls that you can get more familiar with. But since you're familiar with some of the jargon of the financial sector, it would actually benefit you more than it benefits me, because I've done some stuff in the financial sector, but not like you're embedded in there. So you know their jargon, you know what kind of financial institutions do what, more than likely, you know what kind of audits have to happen within a financial organization. Those things you can leverage towards a cybersecurity experience, and that will help you into getting into the banking sector, into investing, into CPA organizations or whatever. And how you would leverage that, if I were you, is do the Security Plus. If you don't have any kind of background in IT, if you're like really green with IT, like you don't know anything, then I would start with something like an A+ certification, or you can do Google support IT. But the reason why I suggest CompTIA A+ is because that's the one I did. That was the first one I did. So I know their common body of knowledge is relevant to the career I'm talking about. And also I know how marketable that one is. It's more marketable, in my opinion, than Google support IT. So I would, if you have no idea what to do, start with something like an A+ certification. If this is the first one, it's not going to be easy. Then go to the Security Plus, and that's where the magic happens. That's where the money starts rolling in, and that's where you'll start to see some interesting crossroads between cybersecurity and what you're currently doing as a CPA audit. So that's what I would do. Some of the other things that you can do, yes, Sarbanes-Oxley, I would look into that one, or it's called SOX, SOX. And you'll be familiar with some of the jargon in there. There's a lot of crossroads between cybersecurity compliance and what you do in auditing for financial sector. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So start with A+, then go to Security Plus, and then that's where you'll start to see a lot of stuff mesh with the CPA audits that you're doing. Hope that helps. Somebody said work-life balance for cybersecurity. I do IT work for a local government, and it's a cakewalk every day. That's awesome. And so you do Oh, is there asking if there is a work-life balance for cybersecurity? Some jobs, like the current job I'm in right now, we're short-staffed. I'm working for a government organization. It's really, really difficult work. I would say there's a work-life balance, but if we want to get the job done, there is none because we don't have enough people doing the job because Americans don't want to do this work. I don't know what's going on, but we can't get people in that job. So so is there a work-life balance? At the previous job I worked at, I worked a part-time job for like a pharmaceutical, and there was a huge work-life balance there. And the one before that was a private sector. There was no work-life balance there. We traveled a lot. It was crazy. And then the one before that, they have great benefits though. And then the one before that was another government agency. Again, we just didn't have enough bodies. There was no work-life. It depends on what position you get, whether or not you have a work-life balance, and how much work you're willing to put in. So, hope that answers your questions. Mr. Perry says, driving GRC organizations need it, especially as governance levels make security efforts effective. Absolutely. Because a lot of that's a great point, Perry, because I've noticed a lot of times the IT department will not listen to us unless GRC is involved, unless the governance of the organization mandates that they do cybersecurity, that they do GRC work, that they adhere to policies. If there's no policy, and it's not important to the organization, then the IT department's going to be just going to give you an FU. They're going to put up the finger and say, listen, we got work to do. I don't have time to listen to you tell me what to do. You know, so governance means that the organization from the top is making sure everyone is doing what they're supposed to do, from getting training, basic training on security, training, awareness, to making sure audit logs are on, to making sure documentation is up to par, to making sure they have a security control documentation on this or that system. Those are all governance. Like it's like making sure the organization is doing what they're supposed to do in compliance with upper level federal laws and legislation. Let me see. Somebody said getting a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in cybersecurity. Well, first of all, congratulations. I think that's a great move. The I can't speak on business administration, but cybersecurity is a hot career path. The one thing I would say, Richie, is to go ahead and get a certification if you can before you get out of school. If it's possible, I would suggest a Security Plus or something like that. But even with what you have with your degree, it's going to be great. It's going to go a long way. So with your business background, and if you're older, you have more experience, you might be able to get yourself into like a management type position, because they really need like a level-headed people who are familiar enough with IT to help the directors and the decision makers make those decisions and guide the rest of the organization. Let me see. Can you explain BGP? If you know, no, I don't know WAN stuff, man. I can't. I know a dude. If my man, if he jumped on, he could break it down for you. I cannot explain BGP or OWFPS or open shortest path first is what it's called. Open shortest path first. I can't explain those things. That's not my routing protocols and all that kind of stuff is way beyond me. I can't explain that stuff. Navi says, "Hey Bruce, what do you think about 4-Day Work Week by Tim Ferriss?" That's a great book. I read that one too. Awesome book. Tim Ferriss, a huge fan. He's an incredible dude, very smart, very capable guy. He's a get it work kind of guy. Him and James Cleary have a lot of the same kind of concepts of getting stuff done. 4-Hour Work Week. Sorry, 4-Hour Work Week. What do I think about Tim Ferriss's book, 4-Hour Work Week? I think it's awesome. It's been instrumental for me to do like side hustles. It's one of the things. There's a couple books that started me out on this path, and one of them was a 4-Hour Work Week of me doing my own side hustles and businesses and stuff. One's 4-Hour Work Week. The other one is one by Gary Vaynerchuk did a book he did a few books that I read. One was called Crushing It, and then the other one was called Jab Jab Right Hook. And he's got like a few other ones, but those are the main ones that I worked on that have really helped me out, and that's why I'm on several different platforms. And actually, one of the things that came from Vaynerchuk's book, which was what is it called? Crushing It, was where he talks about the concept of if you make long form content. He was one of the first ones to do this. You take long form content like a podcast, like what I'm doing right now. You take it and you cut it into parts. It's kind of the idea of like the lumber yards. What they'll do is they're selling you wood, but then they're also selling you the sawdust from the wood. So what I do is I make a long form content, and then I break it into different parts. And in Crushing It, one of the things he talks about is you got to make each bit of content fit that platform, which I try to do that. But I mean, I'm not always successful with that because that's much harder to do. But the 4-hour work week is making your day more efficient by doing things like getting virtual assistants and stuff like that. So I started employing that. That definitely works. Definitely works. And now with artificial intelligence, you can use artificial intelligence to also be a virtual assistant. So that combined with like actually paying somebody to be a virtual assistant is super helpful. That's the only way I'm able to do as much as I do. If you're seeing my stuff on TikTok and on Amazon and on in LinkedIn and all these different places, the reason why is because I've used those two things: the 4-hour work week, the stuff he said in that book, and then Vaynerchuk, Crushing It, and Jab Jab Right Hook. You just combining those two things like has been super helpful, and they do work. Let me see. Got some other questions here on TikTok. Let me answer some of these. Does it help to go into cybersecurity with a criminal justice degree? Yes. So I started off in criminal justice. I was a police officer in the Air Force, which at the time was called security police, and then it changed the name to security forces. And so I did law enforcement and I did security, and I had a degree in Uniform Code of Military Justice. The UCMJ was my specialty, along with the M16A2 rifle and the 9mm. Man, I could shoot. But so that was my bread and butter, like criminal justice, right? And I feel for police officers. That's a thankless, hard job. So I did that, and I had a criminal justice degree. And when I when I transferred into computers, what I found was a lot of the concepts in criminal justice fit right into cybersecurity, like chain of custody. That's really important to forensics. Forensics itself has a whole section for digital forensics, which has many of the same concepts that you have in criminal justice. And then the law, actually, several laws are foundational to cybersecurity. A couple off the top of my head. One is called the Privacy Law of 1974, and another one is the E-Government Act of, I can't remember what year it is, but it spawned a couple of other regulations that we all are using right now without even knowing it. One is called FISMA, and then there's a couple of federal privacy laws that the federal government is supposed to, that people in the federal government are supposed to adhere to. So the laws that pertain to cybersecurity will be very not necessarily familiar, but how they're implemented throughout the organizations will be familiar to you if you have a criminal justice degree, because you'll know like how that law was derived and then how it applies to this organization, what they're doing to apply that to the organization, for example. So those are some similar things. And then another thing is your background with criminal justice will help you in certain departments, like the Department of Justice. It will help you out. Any kind of forensics, it'll help you out. If you do any kind of if you go into any kind of 3-letter agencies that do investigations, like the FBI, they would look into your criminal justice background will help there. Any kind of investigations, from Air Force OSI to the CSI and the Navy and the Marines or whoever, like any branches, any kind of investigations, your criminal justice background would actually help you out a little bit. And then also compliance. It will, if you go into like security compliance, it also helps you out there because you'll know like, okay, I know that where this legislation came from, and now I know why the organization is applying this in their policies. So because a lot of times the organization has to enforce the laws that are coming down from the federal government, and that kind of lines up with your degree in criminal justice a little bit. So that's where it's helped me out, and that's where I saw some of the concepts are similar. And I had a background mostly in security, so physical security. So I understood completely authentication, authority, access controls. Those things I came like, I just got it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get this. That makes sense that you would have an access list and only people on this access list would be have a need to go into this area, and here's why and all that kind of stuff. So yes, the answer your question. Super helpful. Is it hard to break into cyber without a degree? I want to get in, but with just experience in entry level. It's gonna be hard to break into some jobs. Some jobs are gonna be more difficult. But if you're trying to get your foot in the door, you will be able to find those jobs. I'll put it to you this way. It's like a checklist, and the more things you have on that checklist, the easier it's going to be for you to get a job. The number one thing on the checklist is going to be having experience. So that's the hardest thing for most people to get, including students. So if you have that, you've actually checked off one of the hardest things on the list. Another thing would be that's going to help you is going to be a degree. A degree is very helpful. It's going to open up more doors for you. And then another thing would be a certification. It's going to open up even more doors. The more things you have checked off, the more skills you have, the more things you have, the more doors it'll open up. So I hope that helps. You can find jobs that don't require a degree or a certification. As a matter of fact, if you go to LinkedIn, if you go to Indeed, if you go to Dice, if you go to Monster, you go to any of the top job sites in the US, they'll have a filter even. You can search for help desk jobs, and then there's a filter that says no experience, no degree, and you'll find those jobs. They don't pay as much, but it's a great way to get your foot in the door because the more experience you have, the more money you can make. And then the more time you have working that job in that experience, the more time you have to get a certification or even a degree. And sometimes they'll even pay for it. They'll even pay. An organization sometimes will pay for you to go to school or to go to a boot camp and help you to get the degree, because the more certifications you have, the more money that they are going to be able, the more opportunities they're going to have because they're training up all their people. Okay, let me see. Walter says, any online schools you can recommend for someone who works many hours that you can recommend? Yes, so I would recommend a couple. There's one. I went to the University of Phoenix. What can I say that's good about the University of Phoenix? It is very expensive. They run it like a business. It's a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's not cheap, but you will get a degree out of it. That said, the one I would recommend would be WGU. Now, I didn't go there, but many of my friends did, and a lot of people I know. Yeah, truck driver. Yeah, you could do this degree. It's an online degree. It's an accredited college. They have lots of good stuff, and it's at an affordable price. And I'm sure people here can attest to it. There's people here who are alumni of WGU. WGU, yes. So alumni will tell you. You guys that are alumni of the WGU, go ahead and tell Walter about the colleges. Anybody else can you guys tell Walter about can you suggest any colleges that you've either gone to or have a degree from or you're working on right now that you would suggest that he go to? He's a truck driver. He works very long hours. He's on the road. He'd have to like be studying in between as he's driving. He'd have to be going to truck stops and then, studying before he sleeps or whatever. Can you guys suggest anything to him? Person-centered cybersecurity. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, ma'am? I've been sending people to your site. They said you didn't update your site for a while, but I've been sending people there. Let me see. So people are suggesting places for Walter to go. Appreciate that. Let me see if there's any other TikTok questions here. I wanted to talk a little bit about the security issues with TikTok. I know some people aren't going to like what I have to say about it. But so recently there was a backdoor, a possible alleged backdoor from TikTok to the CCP, Chinese Communist Party's government. And there is reason to be concerned, especially if you work directly for a national security type organization or if you're a journalist. Huge concerns. Because I would say that if any government, really, not just the Chinese government, can grab your information, they can know your location. It definitely shouldn't be on your phone, on your work phone. It shouldn't be on your work phone. I actually agree with that law that they just passed. Some of the states are passing it and saying, look, we don't want TikTok on it's not allowed. We're locking the phone down. I actually agree with that. But on your personal devices, probably if you're a journalist, you shouldn't have it on anything. You shouldn't have it on anything if you're a journalist. It's just too risky. And too many governments are going after journalists. I mean, real talk here, real talk. A lot of governments are going after journalists. If you look around the world, some governments that you would think are cool, are okay, they go after journalists. And if you're saying stuff and about their government or about their leadership, they can track you down with social media. And I would argue that you probably don't want to have Facebook there either, to be honest with you, if you happen to work. And if you work for any kind of intel, if you work for the military, if you're in the military, National Guard or otherwise, I would say just don't put it on you can put it on your personal phone. Probably no problem with that, but probably don't want to put it on your work phone. And you probably don't want to use it at work, I would say, on personal or otherwise. It probably is a bad idea, especially if you're in a sensitive area, in a sensitive part of the world, sensitive base, doing sensitive work. You probably don't want to do that while you're, it's just a bad idea because they can track where you're going because they can download all the stuff from your phone. That said, for personal use, one of the people in my comments on YouTube said, hey, I don't trust any cybersecurity person who's using TikTok or is on TikTok. Okay, but if you're that critical of TikTok, then you should also be that critical of Facebook and all the other social media platforms because they all do the same thing and they just serve different masters, if that makes any sense. My thinking on it is that the federal government has all of my personal information going back to the day I was born because I have several clearances. I've had several clearances. They know everything about me. I know because I've given them the information because that was what I had to sacrifice in order to get into those fields. So for me personally, it's more detrimental if my government has my information than another government has my information. That's my thinking on it. I think all social media platforms, what they're doing is they're using our information. We are basically their commodity. They use us as their product. We are their product. Our information, this live stream, this is their product. They're using this to promote their ads, to get more ad revenue, to promote their product, to promote the platform. So they all do it. It's not just TikTok, right? If our federal government's going to go after TikTok, they should also equally go after Facebook. I would say Facebook is more detrimental to us as individuals because, I mean, they can do way more damage and have done way more damage because they're literally here, allowing people to put out false narratives, not only allowing it, but promoting it sometimes. These false narratives, these lies, these conspiracy theories, they're inspiring people to go out and try to take over the Capitol or whatever. They allowed that to happen. So if anything, I think that Facebook should be held liable as well. So is the CCP spying? Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, why? Yeah, sure. Do you have a reason to be concerned? Not any more than you should be concerned about Facebook and YouTube and all the other social media platforms. I'm just being completely real with you on the nature of what's happening here. So that's my take on it. That's why I was very hesitant to do TikTok, but I was just thinking when I really thought about it, I'm like, man, Facebook has way more of my information, you know? And I've done everything I can to, and everybody out there, I would encourage you, never use your real name, never use your real location, never on any platform. And if you have it out there, I would encourage you to change it immediately. Don't use your real name, your real date of birth, your real place of birth. Don't use any real information out there. I would not put pictures of your kids. I would not put it's just dangerous. I would just be careful about putting your real information out there. So this is somebody who I've been doing this for a long time, and there's been a couple times when I went viral, and it doesn't always go well. You know what I mean? Because no matter how positive you think your information is, somebody out there is going to think that you said the worst thing possible about them, their family, their country. You said something that you think is completely benign, and they hear it and they lose their minds, and they're going to try to track you down. That's happened to me more than once. Good and bad, by the way, but good and bad. Okay, let me see. It's been 6 months since I made a cybersecurity video. I'm in training for fitness competition. Oh, wow. What are you doing? Are you like running a race fitness competition? And I've been making videos for that channel. I'll be making cybersecurity videos soon, though. Oh, awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'll send more people your way. I send people to your video about the CompTIA CSYA Plus, I think it's called. It's like a SOC analyst certification. I send people there because I like your breakdown of it. Let me see here. They use Azure. Okay, let me see. They use Azure for workers and stuff. Any recommendations for learning it? Azure? I would ask the group like that. I've got a couple cloud experts here. Anybody have any recommendations on learning Azure? I think it's AZ900 that you want to check out. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. There's a couple of cloud experts on here that jump on here from time to time, and they can break it all down for you. Let me see. Got some other questions here. Comments, questions, complaints. I'm here for you guys right now. Open topics. Anything you guys want to discuss, I'm open to it. Let me see here. Okay, here's another comment question. It said, you just read books to prepare for the cert. I personally do more than read books to prepare for the certs. And let me ask some of the experts. I got a lot of cybersecurity people who are watching me right now. What are you guys? Somebody just said, do you just read books to prepare for certs? What do you guys do? I want to know what you guys do so we can help this person out. For me, I don't just read books. So what I'll do is I'll do labs. It depends on what I'm studying for. If it's more of a hands-on type thing, I'll do some labs. I take notes on the books that I read, and then I study my notes. For me. That's how I retain information the fastest. I'm a tactile learner. If I write it down, I pretty much got it. Another thing I'll do is I'll watch videos about it. Videos for me personally are not as good for me personally. but I will watch them to kind of refresh my memory. I'll like watch videos over and over again about that specific thing. They're good for like if I'm on the go, if I want to listen to something while I'm walking around or something where it's like refreshing my memory. But for the most part, writing down for me helps the best. And another thing, the last thing I'll do is I'll take tests. There's a bunch of online tests that you can go to, and you'll just go through and take the tests over and over again. And after a while, you'll start to see the same questions pop up for that topics of that certification. And man, that works really, really good for me. Taking those tests over and over and over again. And now with ChatGPT, with artificial intelligence, now what you can do is you can have the artificial intelligence actually ask you the questions, and it's very, very good at that. And somebody asked, what prompts do you use to write policies, procedures based on cybersecurity standards like NIST? So if you guys want to know this one, I do use ChatGPT quite a bit for like initial, like if I want to get a first draft, it's very helpful to know like how to write it and stuff. But I can like give you a quick demonstration. Now I have a whole book about how to do this that's coming out really, really soon, and it's talking about how I've used ChatGPT to help me out with my basic knowledge. There's only so far you can go with it because with cybersecurity, sometimes you're dealing with sensitive information, and so you can't. There's only so much you can do. Like if you could put in all the information, it would be super, super helpful. But unfortunately, a lot of the platforms out there right now are publicly available, so you can't. There's only so much you can do. That said, is a quite a bit you can do. So let me show you guys what you can. A couple things you can do. They're helpful. A couple prompts. Let me see if I can. I don't know if this is gonna work on. I apologize in advance on TikTok, but let me see. So let me see if I can find one of my old prompts that I've worked on here. Let me see if this one. Let me see. Oh, that's for a book. Oh man, I got so much stuff on here. Okay, here's one. If you wanted to summarize FedRAMP, for example, let's say we wanted to, let me see if I can make this bigger. So FedRAMP is a government, it's a government method of doing cloud. So making sure you have authorized cloud. So you could say something like summarize, just a simple one. A standard prompt would be summarize FedRAMP for a newbie. Super simple, right? And it goes into, let me see, FedRAMP or Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program is a U.S. government-wide standard for approach for security assessments, authorization, continuous monitoring for cloud products, and blah, blah, blah. And it's breaking it all down. So this is a very simple prompt that's giving us lots and lots of information, breaking everything down. This is good. But how can we be more effective? What can we get? How can we get more out of this? So here's how you can get a little bit more out of this. You could say something like, okay, as soon as it's done, let's just stop this one right here. Just giving us basic information you could have gotten off of Wikipedia. So now let's say we wanted to know a little bit more. We could say act as a 20-year cyber security cloud expert. Now we're giving it more context. Now we're going to say, give me information on the FedRAMP process. Break it down for someone who is new to IT. Limit or explain all jargon. Do you understand? Absolutely. And it says, I'll explain the FedRAMP process in simple, jargon-free way. Imagine you're a principal at a school and you're thinking about hiring a bus service to transport students. You'd want to make sure that the bus driver is safe and follows all necessary regulations, right? That's essentially the FedRAMP, what the FedRAMP does for U.S. federal government. When they want to use cloud services, they are online spaces where data can be stored, and then it goes into the audit process. There are 5 straightforward steps. There's a pre-audit, and it explains that, the independent audit, the documentation, the review, and all that. And it's breaking it down in a way that is for a person who's a basic IT person. And then another thing you can do, which is really cool, is you can have it write a test for you if you happen to already be involved in cloud or FedRAMP. You could have it write a test. You could have it write the initial part and the framework for FedRAMP, for a FedRAMP system security plan. You could give it what I've done is I'll give it like fake information. Like you can't, obviously sometimes you can't put, you can't put sensitive information on here. Like you cannot do that. But what you can do is have it create sample data of a fake system and then feed that fake system back into it and have it write you a system security plan. You can do something like that. What another thing is really, really, really good at is finding security incidents. If you give it if you give it logs and tell it to find suspicious activity within the logs, boom, it'll find it. Now, you can't take logs from a real system and put it in there. So what you can do is have it generate fake logs and then feed those fake logs back in and have it find something. Or you could find publicly available logs and feed those into it and see how it works, just to see how it works. I'm sure that very soon on FedRAMP itself, the government site, they're going to come out with ways to actually use artificial intelligence within your environment. As a matter of fact, Amazon Bedrock has a solution that's, I'm sure, going to be available to the government really soon. Google has an implementation for B2B, using B2B generative artificial intelligence. That's coming really soon. And then so does Microsoft Azure. So there are all of those giant platforms who already satisfy stuff for the federal governments around the world are gonna, I'm sure, gonna start implementing this for. They're gonna start using, the governments are gonna start using those big box AI, generative AI, that's in a closed environment where you could use some sensitive information. I'm sure it's coming. So now's the time to actually learn prompts and prompt engineering. Not only that, but cloud technology as well. Let me see if I got any more questions here. Policies, and could you write a policy and procedure with NIST? Absolutely, you can. I did a whole video about that. Let me see if there's any more questions. Well, it's kind of light today. Not getting a lot of people on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok. So I'm going to have to cut this one a little bit short. But I appreciate everybody who jumped on. Thank you for all your great questions. I'm sure I missed some questions. I'm kind of trying to search through them right now. Where are the videos? If you go to YouTube and type in and check out Convocourses, that's my site. I have a breakdown where I did a live on using GPT to do policies. Let me see what it's called. Go to YouTube, and then you're going to search for Convocourses. Convocourses. Go to my site. And then what you probably want to do is type in chat GPT policy. And yep, there it is right there. I did one where you do a policy for ISO 27001, a security policy. And I think I did one for PCI compliance as well. And all I'm doing is walking you through it, like how you would actually go ahead and do that. Hell, I could do it right now. As a matter of fact, it's super easy. So check it out. I'm back on ChatGPT. And in my book, I go through this step by step for NIST 800. I go through every step of this, and then like some of the gotchas and everything. If you want to find the book, just go to Amazon. Actually, you can just go straight to convocourses.net. You'll find links to some of my books. Actually, the book is coming out. I haven't released it yet, except to my newsletter. I apologize. I have a whole book of how you do this. All right, but here you go. You would type in, first of all, let's say we don't know what ISO 27001 document would look like. So we could say, what are the documents? Let's get smarter on this first. Documents for ISO 27001. Now it's going to give us a short list of all the documents. All right, so first one is the scope of the ISMS. And then it's going into the policy. So we want this one right here, information security policy for ISO 27001. So we're gonna focus on that one right there. It's gonna go through a whole bunch of other ones. I'll just stop it right here because we found what we want. We want this one right here. So I'm gonna go like this. Check this out. So I'm gonna grab this one, and then I'm gonna go to here, ISO 27001 policy, and we're just gonna tell it create. Let's do this the right way. Act as a 20-year cyber GRC expert. GRC policy expert. Create a comprehensive policy. And then we'll just say it like this. And now the best thing you could do is give it some sort of an example. Like if you already had a template that you can go by, you could copy and paste in here an example of what you want to see. The more context you give generative AI, that goes for Bing, Bard, all of the other ones that are out there. They're getting better and better every day. Like the speed at which these things are getting better is crazy. But anyway, let's just start with this right here. Let's say for a system called ISO 20 billion. I'm just making stuff up, y'all. 20 bill. Now, watch this. It's going to hallucinate a fake system and give us a template. There it is right there. It starts off with an introduction that describes the purpose of the actual policy itself. Then it describes the scope of the actual document of the system that we came up with. Goes into the objectives. Now, this is doing a couple things for us. This is educating us on the structure that we need to do for our own, for our real policy in the end. This is great because we could just go ahead and copy this thing. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And there's other plugins that you could use. You gotta be careful with plugins. But there's plugins that you could use to actually transfer this to a Word document or a PDF after it was done. One of the gotchas of this, as I was writing my book that focuses on the NIST 800, I did a whole breakdown on how you can use this for the NIST 800, which is coming soon. I've only released it to a few people on my newsletter so far, so I can get the reviews from my people. And anyway, so let's copy this real quick. You would copy this and put this into a Word document, and then you start working on that Word document from there. But anyway, one of the gotchas for my book that came up, the book's coming out really, really soon. Look for it within the next week. I'm going to release it for free, just like I do to all you guys who watch me. I don't have many people watching here. I don't have anything to worry about. So you guys are, the people who watch me are dedicated, like super dedicated. Normally people who watch me. So what I'll do is give you guys a free copy of it, and then I'll ask for a review. And those reviews help me out with financially, they help me out because that's how Amazon like ranks you. So that's why I give it out for free, if you were wondering. So anyway, so that one of the gotchas of using NIST 800, a GPT for NIST 800, or any of the other ones is that you kind of got to know you got to know it doesn't exempt you from knowing the material. If you're thinking, this is going to replace me, this is going to replace my job, how are we going to be able to do? Well, listen, this thing hallucinates so much that there's a lot of wrong information there. You really got to read through it, and you really got to know where it's wrong. Like, for example, a lot of the generative AI, the large language models that are out there, if you just type in, give me a breakdown of the NIST 800 risk management framework, it's going to tell you about risk management framework version 1, which doesn't include prepare, and which has a different set of security controls. Most organizations are going off of revision 2. I know that because I know this field. Like, I've been working in this for a long time. So as soon as it said that, I was like, wait a minute, it's missing some controls here. It's missing this control and that control. This control was in the last book. I knew that because I'm a subject matter expert on it. It's an extremely good, helpful tool, but it's not a replacement. If it was a replacement, that'd be great, actually, because then right now it's in a position where no organization worth its salt is going to trust everything this thing says, even if it is way better than the average human, which it is. Because I'll give you an example why, and this will make a lot of sense. Okay, so there was this financial institution. There's 2 institutions who are always on the cutting edge of technology. Can you guess which ones they are? One is the porn industry, and one is the financial sector. And both of them are doing that for the same reasons: money. So in the financial sector, what they found was they started working on generative AI way before it got popular. They've been working in like labs and research labs and stuff. And so what they found was it freaking works. It works. It can call numbers. They have a few that were really accurate and was able to, like, at something like a 60% level, accurately predict and to make them profit over and over again. The reason why they don't rely heavily on it and then start using it for like their main customers and main clients and stuff is because if one day it gets it wrong and they don't know why, it's too much risk. It's too risky. Do you know what does that make sense? If they don't know why it's getting the answer right, then when it gets the answer wrong, it could be catastrophic. You got to know why it's getting it right. And that was the problem. They didn't know why it was getting it right 80% of the or 65% of the time or whatever it was. It was getting it right. But then they were like, how is it getting it right? They don't know. They don't know how it was getting it right. So then they're like, we can use this on the back end as like a research tool, but we can't use this. We can't rely too heavily on this because we don't know why it's getting it right. So the one time it gets it wrong, the level of risk is too high. It could be catastrophic and they won't even know why. It bet on say Airbnb. When Airbnb was going down, it bet on it and it got it right. And it's like, man, how did it get right? But then that one time it bets on, I don't know, Delta Airlines, and it's like, oh, it's going down, but it's betting on Delta Airlines, and then Delta Airlines just tanks. But they don't know why. It's too risky. And it's the same thing with cybersecurity. If organizations are dealing with people's livelihoods, they're dealing with the reputation of organizations. They're dealing with real world incidents that are happening that could destroy, that are can be very corrosive. Like they got to stop, and they got to know why it stopped. They got to know every part of the process as they're doing incident handling, for example. And if you introduce some black box in there that does everything for you, but you don't know why it's doing what it's doing, it's just too risky. There's a level of risk that it has to be open source within your organization. You have to know every part of what's happening and every person who's doing everything, so that you know the level of risk that you're dealing with. If you put everything into a black box, you don't know the level of risk, and you don't want to handle. There's certain things like your money, your reputation, people's lives, resources that can tank the whole organization, that you don't want to put too much in the hands of a black box that you don't know what it's doing. Now, at some point, they'll figure it out. And at that point, all of us are probably out of a job. But until then, we're good. Okay, somebody said, Cut the Corner says, just on simple math, GPT-4 makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, it's not there yet. It's going to be there eventually, but right now it's just not there. It's incredible. Don't get me wrong. It's incredible. Like it's so intuitive sometimes. I mean, I'm actually using it quite a bit, and I'm blown away every time. But there's certain things that I'm like, what? Every now and then, like the risk management framework stuff, it consistently gets it wrong. And I'm like, to the point where I have to write the prompt in a certain way that it forces it to get it right, because I tell it the answer. I'm like, I've got to word it in such a way that that it can't get it wrong. I have to say, write a system security plan for NIST 800 risk management framework, Rev 37. Revision 2, that has the prepare step as the first step, and then ask my question. I've got to put all the context in to the question, so that it already knows which which special publication to use, which revision it is, and then ask the question so that it gets it as close to right as possible. It's still very helpful, but as a subject matter expert on this one thing, I can tell you it's wrong sometimes. I can look at it and say, that's not right. That's not right. It got this part excellent, but this other part's wrong. Okay, let me see. Do you think cybersecurity jobs will be replaced? No, I don't. I do not think they're going to be replaced, because there's too much risk involved. It's too risky. At this point, I think it's going to be an addition to our job. It's going to be a great addition to our job. I think you're going to have, as a cybersecurity person, just like we have to know a little bit of networking, we have to know a little bit of cloud, we're going to have to know some AI. That's what I think is going to happen, because the AI is going to be put in Splunk, a tool that a lot of us use for SIEM technologies. It's going to be put in Logarithm, which is another SIEM. It's going to be put in things like scan devices are going to use it. Any kind of security tools that we use, it's going to include AI. It's kind of like the auto complete feature. Think about it. Autocomplete started getting put in email and search engines, in messaging apps, in everywhere, because it's just easy. It makes your life a little bit easier. Now AI is going to be put in all these things. And also, if you didn't know, Google just did a keynote speech where all they did was talk about AI, and they were talking about exactly what I'm telling you. They're implementing it in Gmail, in search engine, in their search engine. They're putting it in Google Sheets. They're putting it on Google Drive. They're implementing it everywhere, and they're working on one called Gemini that's as good or better than ChatGPT. They already have one called Bard that's out there right now that you can use, but they're working on one right now that's even better than that, and to really try to compete with ChatGPT. And they're trying to put that in place of all search, which is going to change the whole landscape of the entire internet very, very soon. Very, very soon. Within this year, all this stuff is going to be released. I would probably say within the next 3 months. That's how fast this is going. This is going to change all of our lives and everything we're doing. And I think that the best thing to do is lean into it right now. That if you can't beat them, join them, lean into it and use it to our advantage. We could sit here and think all day about like doom and gloom and how it's going to destroy everything, and we're all going to die. It's going to replace our jobs, and we're going to all have to have basic income or whatever the hell it's called. Or you could say, listen, I'm going to use this for my business, my side hustle. I'm going to use this for my job so I can learn Splunk better. I'm going to use this thing to write books. I'm going to use this thing to write a better web page design. I'm going to use this thing. Use it to your advantage. It's not the end of the world. This is an opportunity that right now we are on the cutting edge of this because we know about it. Most people don't know about it. They're just hearing about it. You and I need to use it like now, like right now. What are your favorite cyber security, cyber news sources to keep up with everything? Let me see. There's a couple. I'll just use, to be honest, like, I mean, I know it's boring, but I'll just go to Google News and just look at the latest technology. That's probably the top one. I'll also do, I'll go to Google Assistant. You could do this on Alexa. You can do this on whatever voice command thing you use, which another thing, voice command is going to get taken over completely by AI very, very soon. I mean, it's so inevitable. Anyway, so so I use Google Voice and just ask it to listen to news. I'll say, hey, Google, play news on tech, and it'll start playing the news on the latest in the technology field. One podcast I listen to every now and then is called Security Now. Security Now by Twit. I can't remember the guy's name who does it. Steve, I can't remember the guy's name, but that dude's really smart. And those guys, I'll listen to that to keep on top of it. Another place I go to is CISA.gov. That's a good site. Another one is probably the one I do the most is probably CVE. Usually I'll have to go to the actual vendor sites to look up vulnerabilities and plugins and things like that. So that's mainly where I go to, Can you invest in Gemini? I think it was called Gemini. Let me just make sure. I don't want to lie to you guys. Google new AI project. Is it called Gemini or is it called? Let me just make sure. I want to say it was called Gemini. I apologize if I got this wrong, y'all. Just sitting up here talking and talking and talking. Yeah, here it is right here. Check this out. It's called Gemini. This is wild, man. There's so many changes with AI happening right now. I have not had, in my career and doing this all these years, I've not experienced anxiety like I have right now. It's changing so fast. I found myself have a little bit of anxiety over the changes. Google unveils Gemini. It's a new and improved OpenAI GPT rival. Yeah. So there it is right there. Bard is getting a big upgrade. Bard already got this big upgrade, by the way. But they're working on something way bigger than this called Gemini. Yep. Can you invest in it? I mean, you'd have to invest in Alphabet, which is a very expensive stock that owns Google and DeepMind and all the other stuff that they have going on. So this is going to change us as a species, I'm sure. And my thinking is this: we got to lean into it. We as IT people need to know about it so we can know like where the where the downsides are. You know, it's not all good, but we have to be, if we want to be on the leading cutting edge of it, we got to know what to do with it, how to use it, you know. What are the books? Are you referring to the books that I talked about in the very beginning of this? So in the very beginning of this live, I mentioned 3 different books that I think that are life-changing that I think you should check out. And they don't really have to do directly with security. They're great for like a life hack. And one is called Atomic Habits by James Cleary. The other one's called 12-Week Year. And the other one is called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So David Cleary's book is Atomic Habits, which is breaking down like what is the best way to accomplish your goals. And it's by making habits that make those goals more than possible, make them happen. And then the other one is 12-Week Year, which is taking your entire year, any goals you had for the year, and condensing them down into 12 weeks. That means you're treating 1 week like 1 month. And if you think it's impossible, read the book, because I've implemented it, and that's how I've been able to write. Man, I wrote 4 books in the past few months. Yeah, in the past few months I've written. It just got me off my ass. Like I had a few that are just waiting there. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you sit on these books? I'm like, man, I'm gonna make a move. I'm gonna make this happen. And I start moving books. So the last one's called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. David Goggins, more of a biography of David Goggins' life. And this dude is a military genius. Dude's a military beast. He's a special forces. He made the special forces in 3 different branches of the military. He's got he's like an ultra runner, and he's talking about how he's able to do it. And essentially he's saying that don't focus on what you think you deserve. Target what you're willing to earn. Let that sink in. It's a big difference. What you think you deserve was why you're probably upset, why you're mad, why you get frustrated, because you think that you deserve a certain thing. A sense of entitlement, especially among Americans, is really strong. You feel like you deserve a certain thing, and you're frustrated because you're not getting it, and you put in all this work. You think you did so much work, you deserve a certain amount of thing. You believe you deserve a certain thing. That's the main premise. But target what you are willing to earn. Think about what that statement says. So what you're willing to earn means you're willing to do whatever it takes to get that thing done. And that means that you're willing to shed anything that you cannot change. What you're willing to earn. Think about that. You can't change how people feel about you. You can influence it. You can indirectly influence how people think about you, but ultimately they're the masters of their own fate. I can't control how America thinks about me as a black guy. I can't control how our organization thinks about me, right? But what I can do is change how I think about myself. I can earn what I think about myself. I can earn my own love and respect, and know that no amount of awards that they give me is going to match what I've done for people around me. There's no amount of rewards, but the rewards that I give myself, that I know that the things I know that I've accomplished the reward I give myself is far greater than any thank you, any respect, any love that I can get from anyone else. And that was a very powerful thing that I had in that book. That book changed the way I think, and it made me reevaluate the things I thought were important and put my values before all of that. Because a lot of times us as human beings, we're always trying to gain other people's approval. We're always trying to gain we want people to love us, and we want people to respect and put us on this pedestal or whatever. that shit doesn't matter, man. What matters is you got to put yourself on that pedestal. You know what you got to put yourself on that pedestal because you deserve it. But you got to earn it first, though. That's the magic. You got to earn it, and you know how much work it takes to earn it. And that right there is the magic part. If you earn your own respect and love, then no amount of other people giving it to you is going to satisfy you. Not to say you don't want it still. Like if you get it, that's cool, but that's not why you did it. It forces you, if you target what you're willing to earn, you're going to do a level of work. You're going to put in so much work that not even you can deny yourself. You cannot deny yourself the love and respect that you deserve. And once you give yourself that love and respect, no amount of rewards are going to compare to how much you know in your heart how much work you did. And nobody can take that away from you. And what happens is, no matter how many trolls say what you didn't do or what you should do, you know what work you put in and why. You're not going to put in the level of work you need to do unless it was absolutely worth dying for. You know what I mean? You're going to do something that was worth dying for. And once you put in that work, nobody can take away the feeling of accomplishment that you give to yourself by accomplishing it. So when somebody says, "Man, you did a great job," whatever, that's like, "Thank you." And then you're just going to keep going because you're doing something that's worth your time. You're doing something that's worth your life. And it forces you to find that thing, whatever it happens to be. So those 3 books are life-changing. That's what I got out of it. You might get something totally different out of that statement. Don't focus on what you think you deserve. What you think you deserve. Target what you're willing to achieve. What it meant to me, it was like getting stabbed in the heart, because I was like, damn. That one statement in that book was like, I was like, oh my God. I started evaluating myself. I started thinking, like, you know where it hit me? I realized I was really angry. And why? I realized why. I knew I was angry, but I realized why I was angry. And the reason why I was angry is because I do a lot and I feel like I deserve better treatment. But then here comes David Goggins saying, you're entitled. You feel like you deserve something. You're delusional. What are you willing to earn? Target what you're willing to earn. And what that meant to me is that there's only a few things that I directly control, and that's my own mindset. Everything else, I can't control how my kids think about me. I can't control how my spouse or family or friends think or what they're going to do. I can't control what they're going to do. But I can control how I feel about me. Target what you're willing to earn. Earn your own love, your own respect. And if you can actually apply it to anything in your life, your spiritual life, your career, like, what are you willing to earn? Are you willing to earn that certification? Really? How willing are you? How willing are you? Are you willing to fail a half a dozen times? How willing are you willing to earn that certification? Are you willing to earn that degree? Are you willing to earn it? Ask yourself that question. Seriously. And if the answer is no, then walk away. Do something else. It's just a hardcore. It's just hard. It's just, and that kind of like hardcore male energy struck me right. It slapped me right in the face. And it was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed to kickstart me. I start targeting what I'm willing to earn. Because if your life depended on it, would you be willing to go for it? If somebody kidnap your kids and put a gun to their head, God forbid, but would you do it? Would you accomplish it in 12 weeks? Could you do it? The answer is yes. That you can do anything. If the stakes were high enough, what's the second book? The second book is called the 12-week year. Think about that. It's taking all the goals you would have taken in a year, like everything you that you were gonna do when you did your New Year's resolution. And I'm gonna do this in 12 months. I'm gonna do this in 12 months. Whatever that is, think about what it is. This is what I did. I did this. I listed down everything I wanted to do in 12 months. And then I condensed it, into 12 weeks. And what that does is it forces you to truly evaluate what you want to do, because you can't do them all. You can't do them all. So now you're down to like one or two things that you absolutely want to do. Here's the book right here, by the way, 12-week year. And once you do that, it forces you to look at the lead indicators. And that's another concept in the book that was very powerful, is that you got key indicators and you got lead indicators. And most people, lead indicators and you got lag indicators. And most people focus on lag indicators. And if you want to know what those are, it's like if you wanted to lose weight, if you want to lose 20 pounds and you get on the scale and you see that damn, okay, I lost 3 pounds. I got to keep going, right? That's a lag indicator. The pounds are the lag indicator. The lead indicator is how many push-ups did you do? How many miles did you run? How many sit-ups did you do? The pain is the lead indicator. That's the thing we don't want to think about. And so with this book, it says, like, if you want to accomplish this, then you have to think about the lead indicators. And if you can do every day, do 80%, like you set yourself a goal every day. Every day to lead to the week, that one thing being done. The thing that you would have done in a month, you're going to condense it into 1 week. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, I listed everything I wanted to do in a year, everything I wanted to do. And it was a huge list. It was like real estate. I'm going to write X amount of books. I want to get in shape and have 6-pack. I want to make $100,000. I want to, all this stuff. Like I listed this whole big ass list, and then I broke them down. I was like, 12-week year. Okay. And this week I'm going to do this, and this. I got 3 days in and I damn near killed myself because I was really doing it. I was like really going down the list. And then what I realized is that this is unsustainable. I can't do all this stuff. And so what I did was I ended up cutting off everything, all 12. I had like 12 different things. All 12 things, I got it down to one thing, which was writing. That's one thing I want to do above all else. If there's nothing else I do, I want to write. That's why I'm writing. If you are wondering how the hell am I releasing so many books, it's the 12-week year. I'm not even playing around. I'm not playing around at all. I'm going for it. And there's this, I watch MMA sometimes, and there's this one dude named Adesanya, the style bender. And there's this one fight he had where this dude was whooping his ass. He was getting rocked. And if you've ever seen the style bender, this dude is really talented. It's this Nigerian dude who's from New Zealand or something. And this dude he's so talented. The dude's so smooth with it. He's a tactician with it. But he gets in there and he just he gets rocked, man. This dude, he's getting right. His face is all swollen up. And he's about to go, like he's in this round, and it's so bad that the ref takes him to the corner. He's like, "Are you good? You good? What do you want to do?" And he's like, he mouths the word. You can't hear him say it, but he's like, he nods and he says, "I'm ready to die." What it is a mindset. He's saying, I would rather die than lose this fight. I will go as far as this fight will take me. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that certification, to get that degree, whatever it is. That's the mindset you have to have for the 12-week year. And that's the mindset that he talks about in the book that David Goggins talks about, and You Can't Hurt Me. I will do whatever it takes to make this happen. I'm not going to stop. I'm willing to earn this. And if I fail, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try harder. And I'm going to keep doing it until it's done. And that's all I have for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Maybe next week I'll have another book for you. I'll keep you guys in the loop. I'm working on a couple right now. I'm working on one for cybersecurity, more for like entry-level type people, because I'm getting a lot of questions about that. So I've been writing that one. I've got another one coming out really soon that I was talking about earlier. That's for the NIST 800 risk management framework and using ChatGPT to leverage that. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. I am done. I appreciate everything. You guys are great. I'll see you guys tomorrow.